welcome back to Ledford. I'm Serein Wu.
And I'm Chris Ledford.
And together in the last few years, we've definitely overhauled our lifestyle. We're going to talk a little bit about our history and kind of really what led us to be where we are now. I am a certified health coach and nutritionist through Precision Nutrition. And Chris,
I am a certified personal trainer with NASM.
If you follow me originally from my main YouTube channel, which really started as Dress Yourself Happy, a beauty channel that has truly evolved over the last 6 years, we rebranded this channel to Ledfit because our passion in the last few years really has transformed our lives. We've always been physically active. We both grew up very athletic. Unfortunately, with really bad nutrition advice and education, that all ended up catching up with us, specifically me. And this video is really more of a sit down of where my health journey is because unfortunately I don't have the greatest documentation of how unhealthy I was other than my lab tests and things with my doctors, which I personally would like to keep private. In terms of video and photos, I don't really have any documentation because I was so embarrassed. And then also as my husband, what that kind of felt like watching your wife kind of go through all this. I have a history of dealing with depression, which leads to anxiety.
So I think to give it context, you have to go back and look at where we were prior to everything, prior to starting YouTube, prior to everything. So Serein was an actress from the time she was 14 years old. So with that comes a lot of the things that you might expect. You have to be mindful of your appearance. You have to be mindful of your weight, because not just weight, but health too, because if you book a job and then you're sick because you're eating some bad food and you can't go on set, well, that obviously affects your ability to do your job. So I think when she decided that she was going to take a break from acting and move forward with creating content full time, it was kind of this middle finger, I've been watching my weight, I've been, monitoring my diet, I've been so careful about all these things for so long. I'm just gonna do what I want to do for a while because now it's just me and my camera and no one can tell me what to do. So yeah, it kind of did start there, but it got progressively worse as time went on. I think it starts like everything slow, and then you see a little bit of weight gain and you feel a little bit unhappy about that, but you tell yourself, oh well, next week I'll just hit the gym really hard and I'll do better about my diet.
I had never had to worry about my weight too much. Luckily, I am just a smaller framed person. And because I was always very active since I was 6 years old with dance, and because I was an actor and working out was so much of my life and kind of the only thing I could control in my career, and my good friends were personal trainers and really active, so I was always active and I was able to outrun a diet for so long. I always had pretty bad eating habits. Let's not lie about that whatsoever. And the funny thing is, my mom was actually a nutritionist. I wouldn't say she was a practicing nutritionist, had a legitimate degree in nutritional science from a college. I never grew up with good eating habits, and I also grew up from immigrant parents that were busy trying to survive and build a life for us, that those $1.99 frozen kids meals freezer section were delicious and I enjoyed it, and why not? They're $1.99 and you get an entire meal for your kid. Or the Happy Meals and the chicken nuggets, and I ate a lot of hot dogs and popcorn at the movie theater because that's what my parents did. I grew up with a severe sugar addiction. I had been drinking apple juice and then Coke Classic since I can remember. I was allowed to eat candy from the stockroom. It wasn't that my parents were bad parents, they just didn't know better and they were busy. They couldn't prioritize that. They didn't know as much as we know now, because you have to figure, when my mom went to school, high fructose corn syrup wasn't really a thing yet.
I don't even know if it was in as many things as it is now.
It might have been a couple things, but even wheat isn't the same wheat. Back when we did the math, she went to college in the 60s, early 60s. Just a lot has changed just in a very short amount of time. So I'd been acting since I was 14, and while there was this always pressure to be skinny and to look a certain way, I think the bigger thing was towards the end of that chapter of my life, I was just so unhappy because of the racism I was dealing with, the toxic environment. It was just a really unhappy situation. So when I finally found YouTube, I was so happy to see that the fact that I was Chinese American didn't bother anybody, at least to my knowledge, that people were accepting of me, despite that I wasn't Asian enough or slutty enough or nerdy enough, whatever it was that I wasn't enough of in my previous career.
With acting, guys, just so you know, you do get put into these subcategories. So, you know, the first part of that will be like, we're looking for a 18 to 25-year-old Asian female. From there, it gets subcategory down into, like, you're gonna have, like she said, the slutty girl, or you're gonna have the really, really, really overly Asian girl. So it's always this constant mixture of, oh, you're just not the right type of fill in the blank, or you're just not good enough for this particular project because you don't fit into this particular mold. So it does create an unhealthy atmosphere with one's own self-worth, I feel like.
When I discovered YouTube, I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever, because it's real people. People are accepting of who I am just as who I am, and it made me so happy. And so when I decided that I was gonna like just make YouTube videos because it made me happy, I also realized I didn't have to be a 00. I did say kind of F it, and I continued to eat what I wanted, but I stopped working out. And so I slowly started gaining a little weight. At first, I looked kind of healthy and womanly, which was a good thing. Got out of control, and then when I decided I wanted to try and like fix the situation or get better and try to be healthier, my mom had her stroke. And that was not a time for me to be able to think of anything really, or to dedicate my time to my health. As my mom started to recover from the stroke, and kind of we discovered a new normal with her, and thought, hey, maybe we've got like years with her like this, and this isn't bad, because we kind of have my mom back. She's dependent, but it's not horrible. She's happy for the most part. She didn't seem to be uncomfortable. And I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna start working out again and start eating better. Then my mom got pneumonia from the nursing home, and there was complications. And once again, like I binge ate and comforted myself with bags and bags and bags of Ruffles sour cream and cheddar chips.
Oh, it was a perfect storm. It was an unhealthy situation as far as depression, and obviously going through the loss of, you know, the pending loss of your mom, but it was also the bags of Ruffles, and then the lack of time between creating, you know, the content and then trying to visit with your mom. And just, you know, there's not, the nursing home that she was in, there just wasn't a whole lot of options for food down there. So it would be like, oh, I'm gonna get a large boba tea. I'm gonna get, you know, this quick fast meal. It
was all fast food in the area, and I'm not making excuses for my choices, because now, knowing what I know, I can make better choices. But also, when you're in that place mentally and emotionally, you don't have the energy to make better choices. It was a lot. And if you guys came over from my main channel, you know that it was just a really hard year and a half. And it took a while for me to even kind of have a new normal. The worst part was, during all of this, my doctor, I would see every 3 to 6 months, and he would constantly be like, you gained another 10 pounds. You are also hyper stressed, and you've got to do something. Like, my lab results were getting worse and worse and worse, and in a very short amount of time. And at this point, I was like 32 or 33.
Might have been 31, like, yeah. 30, between 30 and 32.
The bigger problems were my doctors were like, you know, this isn't gonna get better. You need to do something, because this isn't gonna get better. Chris and I couldn't really figure out what to do. I tried becoming a vegan for a while, thinking that it was the red meat. So I did really try to be vegan for a while. Then I tried being pescatarian, and then I tried just eating clean, and nothing really would work. And I did the BBG program. I finished it. Like, he saw me do these things, and nothing was helping. If anything, I kept gaining the weight, and I kept getting more bloated and puffy and red. I had really bad energy. I had headaches every day at 3. Like, you knew what time it was.
You could set your watch by it. It was every day at 3 o'clock headache.
I was moody. I was cranky. I was just an awful person, because I was not feeling good. It was my normal. We thought I had a hormone deficiency or imbalance, which we know I had a hormone imbalance. We talked to my doctor about possibly getting hormone therapy, but unfortunately, the biggest reality is my insurance wouldn't cover that. We couldn't afford hormone therapy out of pocket, and I didn't want to necessarily be on prescriptions for the rest of my life. After a good year and a half of just trying to figure it out and trying different things.
The frustrating part for me was watching all of this. When you watch your significant other progressively become unhealthier and continue to gain weight, and you see how upset they are, and you see how angry they are, and everything in their life has kind of centered around now how bad they feel and how uncomfortable they are with their appearance. And there's not much you can do about it, because as a husband, I can't say, hey, you're putting on weight, or hey, maybe you shouldn't eat that bag of Ruffles potato chips. There's only so much that you can do as a husband, and it's really hard to go through it, you know, on our end. Not as equal as to what she was going through, but it does hurt when you're having to sit on the sidelines and there's not much you can do. I got tired of nobody being able to tell us what was going on. Even doctors would give us the most vague advice. Hey, maybe you should just eat healthy. Okay, well, what does that mean? So no one could really tell us how to fix the problem. And I saw Serein killing herself working out, doing different programs and this and that. And like she said, she would just continue to gain weight. I just started Googling, I started YouTubing, I started doing everything I could to try and figure out.
We knew that I was testosterone deficient. We knew my hunger hormones were imbalanced, and we knew there was a lot of inflammation. Now, knowing what I know and talking to a lot of doctors who support what we've done and who also come from the same background, not the same background because they're doctors, but they had to kind of discover stuff on their own. They only get 1 day's worth of nutrition class in their entire medical studies. It's very rare for doctors to go beyond that, educate themselves, and stay on top of their education, because there are new studies, there's new researches constantly about things.
I just started researching, trying to do everything I could to figure out why the weight wasn't not just coming off, but why she continued to gain weight. Because for us, we thought we were, based on our upbringing, we thought we were eating healthy. We were sitting up in our loft flipping through Netflix, came across this documentary called That Sugar documentary, or That Sugar film. We watched that whole thing through. It was like a light bulb went off. And then right after that, we watched The Magic Pill. So we decided we were gonna try to implement this. And back then, keto wasn't even keto. Like, it didn't really have a name for what it was. It was just you were gonna restrict the amount of carbohydrates and sugar specifically that you put into your body.
We committed to 30 days when we said we were gonna do this, and we were also going to incorporate intermittent fasting to see if that would help correct some of the imbalances as well. It wasn't like we just watched 2 movies and decided we were gonna do this. We did our research. I looked up how many total carbs and net carbs I was allowed to eat to keep my body in ketosis. You have to limit the amount of carbs in order to do that, especially in the beginning. And we started tracking our total carbs and our net carbs. And in the beginning, it was really just total carbs because I didn't understand really what net carbs were. We fumbled a lot. We did dirty keto a lot. It was the easiest way to get ourselves into ketosis. It was a completely new lifestyle. And we told each other we'd evaluate after the 30 days. The 30 days actually turned into 90 days. I had cheated once during those 90 days. I immediately felt awful. I felt bloated. I felt my headache kind of come back. I started to feel gross. And that's when I was like, okay, let's see what else I can eat that will trigger this. While we stayed in ketosis for the most part, every so often I would try something and see how it really affected me. Because I was so imbalanced, we really had to do something drastic. And through those drastic changes, we would, after the 90 days, we would kind of like test and see what really would affect me. For almost 3 years now, what really affects me is sugar. Refined sugar. It's not even that I would gain weight. We're not worried about that at this point. I am stronger than I have ever been. I feel good. I'm healthy. My immune system's good. It's more about I become like the Hulk. Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, it's 2 different people.
Our marriage is so much better if I just eliminate refined sugars. Even once a week, we'll go get Dave's Hot Chicken, which is loaded in carbs. Loaded. I'm talking, I eat the seasoned fries, I eat the bread with the fried chicken and hot sauce, and I eat the chicken tender with totally breaded, and I'll do that at max once a week. And that doesn't even really turn me into a bad person. But the second I eat like multiple like treats of sugar, I am unbearable.
The truffles over Christmas.
Oh yeah, so my sister bought me these truffles because they were in a penguin tin, and penguins are my favorite animals. I opened the truffles, and I was around the holidays. I had honey baked ham. I had everybody over. It was totally not a keto meal, and I had planned for that. I forgot that there was sugar in the honey baked ham. There's sugar in the mustard. There was also sugar in
everything.
There's sugar in everything for dinner, okay? I wasn't feeling the greatest, but then I saw these truffles, and they were freaking delicious. You know those cheap, yummy truffles that just is like sugary chocolate, like not even chocolate anymore because there's so much sugar in it. So I ate one, and then I couldn't stop eating them on the couch because, you know, that happens. Sugar is also highly, highly addicting. I just popped them, and then like, I think you were traumatized, not by my eating them, but by like the person I became.
This was a while back. We figured out that sugar was a cue. Like it really turned her into a different person. I would sit on the couch and I would watch her eat these truffles going, oh shit. Like how long before this turns into something really awful? And when I tell you that for Serein it turns her into a different person, it really does turn her into a different person. Before we figured out that sugar was the catalyst for all this, was the most trying time in our marriage, because she would go from 0 to 100 literally in the blink of an eye, and you couldn't figure it out. There was no warning for it. It would just happen, and anything could be a trigger.
Manic.
Yeah, anything could be a trigger. It was the smallest thing could send her over the deep end, and as a husband I'm at a loss as to what to do at that point. So finding out that sugar was the cause of this was a lifesaver. It was a godsend.
So the main reason we wanted to sit down and just kind of talk about our experiences is because I think health is such a unique journey for each person. I know that the weight loss culture and the fitness culture is very much about like scale and size, and it shouldn't just be about that. It should be truly how you feel and mental health. For me, the number one reason I stay on keto is because of my mental health and the person I can be. And if we think about having children, like that was a big concern of yours.
So if we were going to talk about having kids, the first thing for me was we had to figure out how to make our home a bastion of love and a place where someone feels nothing but positivity, you know, as much as humanly possible, because I think that's what, you know, makes for a better human.
We also want you to know that while we both practice a mostly ketogenic diet, we don't believe it's the only diet out there that will work for everyone. Health and nutrition has to be unique for each individual. If keto is going to help you get off of the sugar in the immediate time frame, then great, try it. But you have to find keto and make it work for you if that's what you want it to do. For us, when we're maintaining and just kind of like living our lives, we pretty much eat a higher fat diet, and every so often we'll have like a carby meal because we enjoy it and want it, and life is meant to be lived. And because we're not dealing with diabetes, we're okay with having that. And for me, I try to stay away from the desserts, and I don't actually have a problem with that. That's not really my issue, especially since you just have to supply me with Lily's chocolate.
Yeah. And there's alternatives too. Like that's the thing we learned and discovered along the way, was for the things that you do crave, there's usually some sort of alternative that you could have in moderation. Like for Serein, she really likes things like Lily's chocolate.
I care for more salty things, which is perfect for our fatty diet. You have to first detox yourself from things, and then you can slowly add things back in. I also want to urge you guys, don't be afraid of trying something different if it means it might make your life better. When we wanted to do this, people were scared for us and thought we were gonna die. I got my blood test back and my lab results, and my doctor was like, oh, a lot of people have been doing this keto thing and it's amazing. My patients have seen great results, especially those pre-diabetic. And I was like, really? Really, doctor? You didn't want to just tell me to maybe try this? It's because they actually can't, because they don't have enough knowledge in directing you to these things or these ideas, because they don't fully grasp the concept. What's crazy to me is in my nutrition training, which is one of the best available, if I was going to do it, I wanted to make sure it was like a legit institution, because I didn't want to go back to college at 35 years old. So I chose an online accreditation instead. But I don't think you should take anybody's education at face value.
Serein's absolutely right. Don't take anyone's education at face value. If you're going to work with someone, it should be very clear from the onset that this person is very passionate about that particular skill set or the knowledge that they possess. For both of us, we both have certifications from, in my opinion, the best available, but it didn't just stop there. Like, we're constantly, every single day, researching and learning and growing our knowledge base because it's something that we're truly, truly passionate about. So if you're going to work with someone, my biggest piece of advice is find that person that seems genuinely passionate about the science and about what they do, because that's what's going to lead them to get you to the place that you want to be.
In my training, I am told that coaching from a place of belief is unacceptable. You have to coach from a place of knowledge and science-based proof. If I believe keto is the best and I push that on you, that is not doing you anything. That is not good for you. That is not listening to what you as a client needs, what your lifestyle is like, and what your financial situation is like, what your preferences are like, and what your actual health goals are. So while I practice the ketogenic diet, I don't believe that that's necessarily right for you. It drives me crazy because there's so many dietitians and so many nutritionists out there that flat out are in absolutes. This is the only way to do it. Carbs are not bad. Okay, that's fine. You don't want to call carbs bad. I don't think all carbs are bad. Stop calling fats good. Why do we have to differentiate good fats versus bad fats when there are bad carbs and good carbs, bad proteins and good proteins? We all know there's good and bad of every single food. And the fact that they are just so against something that have saved so many people from insulin dependency and from so many different diseases, including childhood epilepsy, the proof is out there. The body's ability to use ketones to run has been around since men have been in existence. And it's in all the textbooks. All nutrition textbooks talk about how your body can actually run on ketones when there's a low glycogen storage or low availability of carbohydrates. There's essential fatty acids. There's essential amino acids that come from proteins. Essential fatty acids come from fats. Both have essential in the name because you have to have it for your body to run. There's no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. None. So this concept has been around for a very, 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 very long time, but we just all like to seem to ignore it. And while, again, I don't think keto is the right choice for everybody, I think it's wrong of dietitians, nutritionists, and health professionals to just dismiss it.
Remember what I was saying about passion?
It's so frustrating because if you wanted to, while I don't practice veganism, it just seems really complex to get everything you need. And I can do a whole video about that as well. And I personally don't see a problem eating meat when it's sustainably raised and sourced, which we pay a pretty penny for. I can help you as a nutritionist live that lifestyle in a more healthful way by giving you the tools to make sure you're getting those essential amino acids, by pairing your veggies and plant-based foods to make sure you're getting as much of those essential amino acids as possible, which for the most part your body has to convert. Again, you don't want a nutritionist, a doctor, or a dietitian who says, no, plant-based is the only way. No, keto is the only way. No, low carb is the only way. No, eat everything. That's the only way. There isn't a one size fits all. Your health is not a one size fits all. It has so many variables. It has your ethnicity, your health goals. How did you grow up?
That's a big one.
Because I'm working with someone who's trying to put on weight, and it is so freaking hard because he grew up in a different country. His body doesn't want to hold on to any weight. This idea that like sodium is bad or that fat is bad or red meat is bad. Yes, everything can be bad if you do it wrong. Just like there's dirty keto, there's lazy vegan, and there's a standard American diet that we've all kind of effed up. Dirty keto, high dairy, lots of products, lots of sugar, alcohols, lots of packaged foods.
Too much bacon.
Yeah, you can see dirty keto, guys. And then there's lazy vegans, tons of Beyond Meats, tons of vegan cheeses that are packaged. You can make vegan cheeses, it's better for you. Vegan cookies, store-bought. And I'm talking store-bought things that are packaged mostly, because if you make it, for the most part, you can clean it up a bit, but just because it's vegan doesn't mean it's healthy. And the standard American diet technically should be a decent diet. The problem is we pump our foods full of hydrogenated oils, pump it full of sugars. We pump it full of crappy sodium, which is why people are so afraid of sodium. I grew up in a generation of aunties and uncles so afraid of sodium. And the funny thing is, since I stopped eating processed crap and eat like half a tub of this, my lab results are great. And again, you can have red meat. You can't have the red meat with the potatoes and the bread. That is where you're going to cause plaque buildup in your arteries, which is a direct correlation to heart disease. Cholesterol is not a direct correlation to heart disease.
We wanted to share our journey with you because we feel like we were in a place where a lot of you guys might be right now, where you're just so frustrated, you're so unsure of what to do. You've tried this, you've tried that, nothing seems to work. And we were there. And it was through trial and error that we were able to get to where we are now. And we've changed the entire course of our life. You know, we changed professions, so to speak, as a result of it, because where we are today and how we feel today is night and day from where we were back then. And we take it very seriously, and we want you guys to be able to feel that way too. We want to pull you out of that place where you just wake up in the morning not feeling good. Your knees hurt, your back hurts, you have aches and pains, you're getting sick multiple times per year, and you don't have to. Like, that's not your normal, and it's not supposed to be, and you can change that.
Keep in mind that it took you a while to get to where you might be now, where you're frustrated. Your journey to a better health isn't going to be overnight. It took me 32 years to destroy my body. I say taking 2 years to kind of recover, that's a pretty good thing in the scheme of things. And just remember, a little bit of effort consistently is still going to yield results. The amount of effort you put in, obviously, is going to yield more results. The more effort, the more results. But it's more important to be consistent. Don't jump into the gym and be like, I'm working out 6 days a week. I do that now after 2 years. But at first it was like, personal trainer once a week. Let's go to the gym 3 times a week. Once that becomes more consistent, then it's easier to add in more. But you have to start small. You have to start somewhere, and you have to do what's right for you. And don't just Google something and look at that first page, because the first page is always like WebMD, Wikipedia.
Paid for ads.
Do some, like, keep going, and look always at who wrote the article, where was the research done,
who funded it.
And there's going to be pros and cons to everything. There always will be. You know, there's good and there's bad to everything. And don't just take one lab result, ask for more, do your research. What is the actual correlation? It's so shocking. For years, you know, everyone's afraid of high cholesterol, high blood pressure. Guess what? My mom had high cholesterol, high blood pressure. She was a risk for stroke. She had her stroke. She had a history of liver disease, which turned into cirrhosis of the liver. She had lung cancer, all of these things. And you know what this nutritionist ate? A very high sugar carb diet. I swear if we had put my mom on a ketogenic diet, she might still be alive today.
Mine too. I'm a firm believer that had my mom been on a better diet, she would still be alive today.
And exercise diet. Well, your mom exercised, my mom didn't.
And I carry around a lot of guilt now because I didn't do the research back then. I didn't try and learn the things that I learned now to help her. And I feel like if I had, she'd still be around. I
think this is also why we both wanted to become certified, because while a lot of our knowledge is beyond our certifications, although our certifications really helped us a lot. It helped me a lot in realizing the difference between belief and actual facts, so that if ever a client came to me, I would never put my beliefs in my coaching. It's separate. And I was talking to Melissa on Instagram because she was like, finally someone talks about how nutrition should be based on each individual and not just this generalized thing. And I said, yeah, I mean, like, you and I can't eat the same thing. First of all, we're different. We have different needs. And then I was like, yeah, coaching somebody, talking to someone as a patient, like, your beliefs have no business in that situation. It should be like separation of church and state. It's what's taught to us, but people seem to forget it. And people also seem to forget that there's a whole chapter in most textbooks about ketones.
I have no ego attached to what I do. I don't want to be right. I want my clients to be healthy. I want my clients to live, because if I can save someone else from losing their mom or losing their dad as a result of being healthy, specialize in preventative health care through a healthy lifestyle, physical fitness, nutrition. If I can save one person from going through the stuff that Serein and I had to go through from losing a parent, that's all I want.
Do it for your kids if you have kids, and do it for yourself, because the healthcare cost is just going up in the US right now. It's shocking what I get for my premium, and it's unfortunate, but that was another thing. You know, I wasn't sick enough for my health insurance to help me, and I wasn't healthy enough to not need help. We've chatted for like an hour. Thanks for listening to us. Chris does do personal training online as well as in person if you're in the LA area.
Let me break that down a little further. What she means when she says I do training online, I create custom workout plans for anyone all over the world. So whatever your physical fitness goals are, I will create a custom program that's specific for you. That will help you accomplish what you're looking to do. That's what she means when she says I train online.
You essentially kind of do that for me, because I don't like spending that much time with you. Like, working out is like my personal time. So what he ends up doing is he writes out a program for me that I follow for a week, and then he writes out another program and I follow that one for week 2, and then I repeat that
week 1.
I repeat
on week 3.
Yeah, and then week 2 on week 4.
You
Writes
switch
me
it
a
up.
new program. So if I have any questions or anything about any of the exercises, he'll show it to me. And so if he's doing that online, he'll FaceTime with you or Google chat with you or send you a video of how to properly do it. And then you have to do the homework, and you have to be honest with him. Like, I'm gonna go to the gym twice a week or 3 times a week. But he'll do that with you. And it's a little bit more affordable than working with him one-on-one, because it's still very time consuming, but he's not there with you every single day. Then if you're in the LA area and you really want to get your fitness like under control and really learn how to properly work out and get correct form, how to use certain machines, get a good idea of stuff, he's a great trainer. And I'm not just saying that. I've worked with a lot of trainers. We've spent a lot of money with me working with different trainers. He's as obsessed with personal training and angles and the science behind muscle manipulation and body composition as I am with nutrition and skincare. But if you want to coach with me, I coach directly with people online. That is available currently on my site.
It's not necessarily about the quick before and after photos. For us, it's about helping you change your lifestyle so that when you're done working with us, you don't need us anymore.
We don't want you to have to keep paying us, which is probably horrible for our business model.
It's not why we started doing it.
Yeah.
You know, we started doing this so that we could help people avoid being unhealthy. And so the best way for us to do that is to teach you how to be healthy. And so after you're done working with us, whether it's in a physical training component aspect or whether it's nutrition or both, you should be able to help then guide your family through the same process, because you won't need us, because you've been educated and you've learned how to do those things on your own.
And it takes time, you know, it does take time, and someone has to be the leader. I was kind of the leader when it came to grocery shopping. And now Chris even knows, like, oh, this has maltodextrin and cornstarch. Don't buy this taco seasoning. But it's because he keeps hearing me being like, no. And he finally started asking why. And I said, well, this has this and this and this. Once I started pointing things out, he was just like, holy crap, why can't we just find something that's like paprika? It's a learning process and it's hard, and there's different levels and everyone's coming from a different place of knowledge already.
Be the person in your family that's brave enough to be really bad at something new.
Oh, that's a good one. Where'd you get that?
I saw it on Instagram.
We've chatted forever. If you want more nutrition stuff, my TikTok is all nutrition. It is a little more keto heavy just because I show you guys what I'm eating and things there. We try to keep this channel a little bit more like broad so that we can help all, motivate, inspire all who are looking to get healthier. And then of course, Chris has his Instagram. We have a Facebook page. I'm not very good on Facebook, but Chris is. I just hope you subscribe and that you find these videos enjoyable and helpful. See you guys back here every Wednesday and every Sunday for new videos.
Bye guys.